How's it going, folks? It's Lobo and welcome back to the channel. So of course the time on the screen is when my reaction begins. If that's all you're interested in, that is perfectly okay. Again, the time on the screen is when my reaction is, because right now I want to take some time to discuss this show and a few things on my channel. So yeah, we're going to get into that. But of course, like I said, it's perfectly fine if you don't want to see what little old me has to say. That's okay. But anyway, here we are with WandaVision. But now that my computer's doing the thing, I just want to say, if you're seeing my camera is weird, like I'm kind of phasing all over the place and my camera's freezing, I apologize for that. I have no idea what's wrong with it. I think it's just as soon as I turn it on, it starts acting funky, and then over time it goes away. I'll have to test that theory, but I hope it's not broken. If it is, I'm gonna have to get a new camera, but I hope that's not the case. But I apologize if something's wrong with it, but I think it should be okay. But anyway, here we are finally with WandaVision. So if you haven't seen the last episode of Impractical Jokers, I went over what's like kind of the deal going on. And if you're not caught up with that, that's in the description. But basically recapping here is that those were old episodes. Like I recorded those a while ago and then I had to update that intro. So after this, there's going to be another episode of Impractical Jokers, which is old. Like I recorded like 2 months ago. So I'm talking about shit that did not happen recently at all. I'm like, oh, the Mortal Kombat movie's coming out in 2 weeks. Like that was a while ago. That was over a month ago. So just that's happening. Also, I'm gonna be doing, this is gonna seem a little random, but there's gonna be a movie reaction coming up, I'd say in 2 days, 3 or 4. Let's go with 3 or 4. La Llorona. I know that's I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I'm rusty on my Spanish, but I know it sounds random, like I said, but why I'm reacting that is because I loved I think it's called the Conjuring verse, and there's that new Conjuring movie coming out, which I really want to see, and that's also on HBO Max, so that's why I'm like preparing to do that reaction. But I haven't seen, like I said, La Llorona, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I think it's Annabelle Comes Home, I want to say, the last one. I saw Creation and I saw the original one, so I think it is Annabelle Comes Home. That's those two I'm going to react to, and then we'll get into La Llorona, which is June 4th, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, scratching that, let's focus on what we're doing here today, which is, like I said, WandaVision. Now, I've been saying I would do this for a while, but here we finally are. And going into this, I'm going to admit, Wanda, or Scarlet Witch, I don't think she's been addressed as Scarlet Witch in the MCU yet. But I'll admit, I really do not know her character that well at all. And Vision as well. Just so you get like the gist of what kind of Marvel fan I am, I don't claim to be like a Marvel or DC fan, because a lot of people, their argument is, well, how many comics have you read? And I've just never been interested in comics. Even when I was very young, I hate reading, and I've always been entertainment. So if like something's like an animated movie, I've probably seen it. I've seen a lot of the DC animated movies, and I think that's where DC really shines. They have a lot of trouble of translating that to live action, which is understandable. They're two completely different things, but still, the MCU is reigning supreme in terms of like live action movies. But I really think the DCAU, DC Animated Universe, that's where they're really up and at 'em. But I'd say if I did have to pick one, I'd side more with DC, just because as a kid, I watched Batman the Animated Series, and Batman's my favorite character of like anything, media, literature, whatever you want to call it, video games, any character you can pluck from any genre. Batman is my number one out of anything, and that's one of the main reasons why DC was my favorite. That, the Justice League show I watched when I was younger, the animated one, I think it was Justice League Unlimited, followed that. There was Superman the Animated Series, which I watched a bit of. But anyway, also there was the Michael Keaton Batmans, the Tim Burton Batman films. I know we had Batman Forever and all that, but just from like nostalgia, even though the George Clooney ones, the Val Kilmer George Clooney one, I think he only had the one, and then the Val Kilmer one, again, the 90s had so much nostalgia, but that's really was all DC. There was no real Marvel until Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man trilogy, which I just fell in love with. And then right there, then and there, Spider-Man came on the par with Batman in terms of my love for two characters. I know I'm talking about two characters that are not related to Wanda, but I'm getting to my point. Hold on, I'm getting to my point. Also, I saw Spider-Man the Animated Series. That was also from the 90s. Those were bangers, dude. The 90s was freaking banging on content, man. But anyway, see what I mean? DC was like dominant for my childhood and what I was watching at a young age. So, and like I said, I never read comics. So, enter the MCU. That's when like things changed because they did a great job. I had a hiccup there. I'm sorry if you heard that. That was nasty. Like I was saying, I'm going to be honest with you. I love the MCU. I think that sometimes, yes, they might do a little more jokes. I know some people's argument for why the DC is bad because they're like, oh, look at Marvel. Oh, jokes, low. I know the Marvel DC fan wars. Like, I don't give a shit about that. If one puts out good content, great. I want them both to because I just want to have a good movie, good show, good whatever all around. But I think everything in the MCU was done very, very, very well. I guarantee you this level of kind of hype and such will never be reached again because this was just entirely new, having interconnected films and stuff and done so splendidly with huge amounts of fan service. But again, I'm a huge Marvel fan. I've seen every movie, MCU movie, and I enjoyed all of them. Like, I know my shit. When it comes to, like, Marvel movies, like, I'll know my stuff. I knew the hype with Thanos going in when I first saw the first Guardians, and I was like, you know what I mean? I was there. I saw the anticipation and the build-up from the 10 years, the real 10 years of the Infinity Saga. But on to Scarlet Witch, I'm sorry, we're finally there. I've been ranting. This is what happens when I talk about anything nerd shit related. I just tend to rant. This is why I've done 0 Batman videos, by the way, because yes, I know everything there is to know about the Batman. I've seen every freaking promo leak, like, ahead of everyone. Well, not ahead of everyone else, but like the casual fan. I've seen that shit when it comes out, bro. I know. I'm subbed to all the right channels on Instagram, Twitter, like on Reddit. I know everything. Okay. It's one of the reasons I can't talk about Batman because I literally rant for hours. But on the Scarlet Witch, like I said, I don't really know anything about her. She appeared, if I'm not mistaken, in Age of Ultron. Her name is Wanda, obviously WandaVision. I think her last name is Maximoff. I'm not too sure on that. I don't know if I'm thinking of that because Natasha Romanoff. Is it Romanoff? Romanoff? I think it's Romanoff. Like an Ulf. I think hers is Maximoff. Maximoff? Her first name's Wanda. They also, I think they addressed her as a kid in that, and she had an accent, and then Elizabeth Olsen just dropped that whole gig. Now she was with Vision. I know that would seem like, oh, she's underage, or it's like a weird age gap, but again, he's not even human. So fun times. But yeah, so I literally could have avoided all this. I'm sorry, but if you stuck through, whatever, you didn't have to. I put the time up on the screen when my reaction starts, so you didn't have to subject yourself to this level of atrocious pre-game speech or whatever you want to call this. But just putting it out there, I don't know pretty much anything about WandaVision. Well, or Wanda, Scarlet Witch. The character, I did when I was a kid, very, very young. I forget how old I was. I think I was like close to a baby. Someone got me a toy. I think, I don't know. I wouldn't say I was just born, but I was very, very, like really young. I'd say like 3 or 4. And I had Vision as a toy. I remember he had his like green little outfit and his like purple face and his little gemstone or whatever. I know it's supposed to be the Mind Stone, but I don't know in the comics if he always had the Mind Stone in his head or if they changed it and like, oh, this makes sense. But again, see, I don't know about him in the comics. But I honestly think like someone didn't even know his Vision. They just mistook it for like, oh my god, it's a bright, colorful little doll. Let's get it for this newborn child, pretty much, even though he's been on the earth for 3 years. Yeah, so I had a Vision thing when I was young, so I guess I had a connection with him, but not really. But anyway, we're going to get into this. My predictions, or I should say my questions about this is this after the events of Endgame? I'm pretty sure it is, because obviously Vision is dead, and a lot of people describe this as a kind of like trippy rom-com. So I'm like, what is going on? I of course I saw the trailers. I know something is weird about it. And then I'm also wondering, wait a minute. Spider-Man Far From Home came out in July 2019. Or June or July. It came out in the summer 2019. That was after Avengers Endgame, which was April 2019. So it was like one of the big reasons I didn't watch this when it first came out was because there was 2 years of just no Marvel. So obviously when the Infinity Saga ended, a lot of people's interest just went down. But it's starting to slowly come back. So yeah, that's why we're doing this now. So yep, we're just going to get into it. Also, one more thing before we begin. But again, this doesn't matter because if you saw the title on the screen, or the time on the screen, excuse me, you could have just went to that. But just one other thing I'm wondering about, or not wondering about, I should say this thing has been out for so long. Of course, I have seen some spoilers. There's only 2 spoilers I've seen, so that's what I'm going to say now. Well, they're not really spoilers. Number 1 is that apparently Doctor Strange was supposed to appear in the finale, and then he was cut out for some reason that I do not know. I guess that was like to take the focus off him, because this is supposed to be Wanda's show, WandaVision show, so I guess it would have been a little strange to have him in there because he's never been really connected with her. And then there was the other, I don't know if this is really like a plot thing or a leak. Well, not a leak, it's been out. I shouldn't call it a leak. Or a theory that apparently there's some like TV screen in every episode, and it was like Doctor Strange trying to message her that she was in a dream or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if that's a theory or whatever, but that's really all I know about this. I have not seen any spoilers. And again, I don't really know her in the comics, so if like a villain from her comics comes up, I'm not going to know it. I'm sorry. But we're just going to get into this because I have been ranting and ranting. And again, I'm excited to start. After this, I'm going to try to upload this every 2 days, like do one reaction, then 2 days later, another one will come out. And then after that, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I know a lot more about. And then, of course, we'll tie into Loki, which I'm very excited for. That's June 9th, I believe. Yes, so enough talking from me. Let's get into this. I am so sorry if you stuck around. You're such a trooper. Thank you so much. And yeah. Here we go, boys. Also, before we begin, I'm going to turn the lights off. Like, I'm going to put on my LEDs. So I'm obviously going to be illuminated a bit, but not like the level of this, because I like to get... When I watch a show, I like to get immersed. I did this with the Mortal Kombat movie, which nobody complained about, so that's all right. With the Impractical Jokers, it's different because it's more... Obviously, it's a comedy show and it's meant to laugh, so I don't care about the lights, but for something I want to get immersed in, I'm just going to turn them off. You'll still be able to see me. And also, if I'm sweating a lot, I apologize. It's because the window is right next to my mic. And obviously, I don't want to throw in an AC in there to make it like cool in here because it's very hot. So I don't want the mic to pick up the AC or the wind or just outside in general. So sorry about that. But anyway, let's go. Yep. Let's go. I noticed this thing. I saw someone saying for their intro, the characters that are dead, they like grayed out. That's crazy, dude. Oh, I miss Marvel, man. I'm already geeking so hard. Yeah, this is already so weird, bro. Dude, this is like a mix of the Roaring Twenties and Sabrina the Witch.
Capable of exaggeration.
Well, then tell me what's so important about today's date.
What was the question again? Oh, God, have she forgotten this?
Heavens no, I've been...
Did he ever change his face back? I can't remember. It was so cool how they made Jarvis Vision. I thought that was awesome.
Forgive me for not stopping by sooner to welcome you to the block. My mother-in-law was in town, so I wasn't. So, what's your name?
The vibe they're going for, they are nailing. This is crazy how well done this is. You were so OP in Age of Ultron, and then you just fell off the map.
Nervous, whatever for?
Well, you know, darling, I still get a little tongue-tied.
Fizz? After all this time.
Oh my god.
Well, it's just one night. There's no need to get dramatic.
Best course of action.
This is so weird, but I am loving it.
Back into your toast.
Does that sound like Iron Man's
Body heating
gauntlets?
Elements can handle anything. All new Toastmate 2000 by Stark Industries. Forget the past. This is your future.
What? Like Howard Stark? Bro, what is going on? Oh my god.
Guess who?
Wanda!
Vision? Who needs to abbreviate?
Darling, listen, it's so romantic to do the candles, the music, that stunning outfit. I don't want to be unappreciative, but right now...
Your boss and his wife are
Recipe cards are on the counter there. Bon appetit!
You must stay put. I sense a domestic emergency.
Mrs. Hall, please don't take out the papers and the trash. Or you will get no spending cash. If you don't scrub the kitchen floor.
E-I-E-I-O.
And on their funny
What the hell am I watching?
Didn't answer the back door for your upside down cake. Oh, hi.
Who's that?
Sam?
Good man selling telegrams.
Wouldn't you know it? Good news is more expensive.
So, where did you two move from? What brought you here? How long have you been married? And why don't you have children yet?
Jeez.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Vision, help him.
Well, would you look at the time?
Yes.
What the hell? That had such a dark vibe, and I loved it.
We'll see about that promotion, huh?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Oh shit! Oh, life indebted. Hey, the lobster's on the door. What the hell? Okay. Kevin Feige. Okay. I'm leaving one of my things in. Obviously, I'm not going to put in the music because that will instantly get this thing taken down. But right now, the credits are rolling. Like I said, I'm just leaving one in case there's an after credits. I don't know if there is because, again, this isn't a movie. This is a TV series. But this is very interesting. Again, I heard it was kind of like a 1940s, 1950s rom-com. And it like really is to a fault. But that whole scene with him choking, yeah, I think it's safe to take this out. Okay. All right, we're gonna put the lights back on, and then we'll go over my little breakdown, what I thought of it, because I was just checking to see if there was an after credits, but I think we're good. So, like I said, we're gonna talk about this in 3, 2, 1, 0. I guess. All right, we're back. So let's go over this. I really like that. That was odd. That was one of the more bizarre things I've ever seen in terms of television, even though this is like a streaming platform, but it's still a show. So essentially it's television or whatnot. But this is definitely within the ranks of like the bizarre shit I've ever seen. But that's what makes it very interesting and good, because there's really nothing you can compare it to. Like, I understand movies that want to have set like a theme with an early genre to kind of really get at a certain time period, but this one is not doing it for that sake, but it's more doing it to kind of be like trippy in a sense. And if I'm not mistaken, the time moves forward actually, because I remember seeing some clips like her hair changes, and I do think it's certain time periods and then it evolves more. I think that was the 50s, I'm pretty sure. 50s or 40s? And I think like next episode might be like the 60s or whatnot, because there are some clips where it's colorized, and obviously color came later, around when The Wizard of Oz came out, which I'm not sure when. I don't have my phone with me, but again, I really think it's the 40s, 50s is when this is taking place. But you can notice like there's subtle hints of reality, I want to say, especially when there was the toaster, because you heard when she pressed down the toast, you heard it. It sounded like Iron Man's like gauntlet or glove. I think I call it a gauntlet. When he does his blasters, that power up, that I'm sorry, oh, that was actually pretty good. That startup sound, that's what the toaster made, and then obviously he goes from Stark Industries. So I'm like, that's a little bizarre, but if it was back in the day, that would have to be Howard Stark, his father. But I don't think so. I think it's just more of the illusion of this is not real, but it's still kind of connecting with shit from the real world that was in her past. And obviously the toaster also had that one little piece of color. It was like the little circle. I'm trying to do this with my camera. Little red circle. I don't think that's to signify Tony Stark. I think it's to signify her, because her color is this red. Obviously that's why she's called Scarlet Witch, is because the red. Where did her powers come from? Oh, no, I'm curious. She didn't come from the Reality Stone, right? I know Vision came from the Mind Stone. Captain Marvel got it from the Tesseract, the Space Stone. I don't think she got her powers from the Reality Stone, or the Ether, as the Dark Elves called it. Like I said, I don't know her origins, but I know she was like in one of the cages with her brother, who is dead. I'm pretty sure he played Quicksilver. Yes. I guess that you could call this the third spoiler I know of the show. Quicksilver from the X-Men movies makes an appearance in here, but he's not playing like an Elseworlds Quicksilver. He's just like just an actor making an appearance. I haven't seen the X-Men movies, so I might do a marathon of those. I've never seen the Wolverine movies, like Logan. Never seen any of the X-Men, so I might do that as like a movie series, because this is all on Disney. But coming back to the show for a bit, I really love how it was. They did a very good job of giving you the atmosphere, or just kind of the vibes that was this time frame, because obviously things are different now, but you had that. Sorry, I'm battling with a hiccup here. You had that predominant, like, kind of classical housewife, I guess you want to call it. Because in the 1950s, that was after World War II, and at least here in America, if I remember history correctly, there was I think it was called the baby boom, when in the 1950s, soldiers coming back, and the economy was starting up, and the world was getting back to the world, essentially, because it was after the Second World War, that people are like, okay, I want to do the things that I couldn't do for these past couple of years because of everything going on, all the conflicts. I want to get married. I want to start a family. And housing was very affordable, and they were building like these houses that are a lot of like, kind of like if you've ever seen Edward Scissorhands, like you know how the houses were all like, it was kind of like that, where they're like modernizing everything. Houses were affordable. People were getting married, having children. It was called the baby boom because all the freaking babies and the population was growing. But this is what that reminds me of that like kind of stereotypical depiction of that time frame, where you had the husband going to work and then the housewife in her like those outfits and stuff. Like obviously this is I would call this a relic, or like a time capsule of a different time, because obviously the world evolutionizes, things are different now, but back in the day this is essentially how it was. So they're pretty accurate on that. Of course, I think they're overdoing how rosy it was, because obviously back then had a number of issues. Every time period until the end of humanity is going to have issues within itself. But I'm just saying, back then there were also issues, even in the baby boom. I'm not going to go into them, but obviously there were issues with the world still, even after the World War, in terms of societal structure and stuff. But again, this is it has a very warm feeling, but then there's something underlying it that I can sense, and that's where it enters the not just how it's describing. It's not just making a time frame for a time frame's sake. No, it's trying to create something that's not quite right. And you saw that teased, at least I saw that teased, when the dude was choking. Like, I can't remember if the entire show was widescreen, because then I remember the 2 black bars came in. So I think during that segment is when the black bars came in, and then you were really focused on this dude choking. And it was very awkward with her looking at Vision, and then the wife was like, stop that, stop that, stop that. Like, it was kind of creepy. But it shows you that in this fake perfect world that is architected, structured, I don't know, whatever word you want to use, this perfect world that's created here, something's not quite right in it. That kind of I'm not going to go into that book. There was this book I read like a decade ago. I forget what it was called, but it kind of reminds me of this. I don't know if it was a book or a philosophy kind of discussion. It was something, but it broached the idea that there's this perfect society and everybody's happy and there's this eternal happiness and bliss and everything's fine and okay. But there's one soul, like person, who's undergoing immense suffering and loneliness and subjugation and almost torture for the sake of everyone else's happiness. It's this sort of, what do I want to call it? I know you probably know what I'm going for. I can't remember the saying. I really wish I could. What is it? We might cut to it when I figure it out. I don't know. Sorry for pausing there. I have no idea. I don't know what it is. I guess you could say every rose has its thorn, but that's a little cliche. There was a better analogy for what I'm describing. But again, it's just the idea that something seems so perfect and yet something is very wrong with it. I know in real life there was, like I said, there was issues with that time period as any time period in human history, period. But in terms of this show, obviously this is not real with Wanda because Vision's dead, obviously. I don't know what happened to her after Endgame. I know she did the thing with Thanos where, oh, my voice cracked there, where she goes, she's like, you took everything from me. And then Thanos does this, I don't even know who you are. Horrible impression. What's funny is that I remember when I saw that scene in theaters, just, first of all, Avengers Endgame, in terms of happiness and a great feeling it gave me, is the top 5 so far of my life. The feeling I had watching that movie in theaters, first showing at 1 in the morning. Anyway, when he said that, it made me think of, if you know Gridiron Heights, they did a segment during Super Bowl 53 where it was Tom Brady trying to get all, because this is at the time when he was going for his 6th ring, and they were making the parody. And I think it was Sean McVay tried to say he's a system quarterback. And then as Brady, as Thanos, said, I don't even know who you are. I'm like, holy shit. They predicted that before Endgame even came out. But anyway, that was the last time we saw Wanda. So I don't know where she is now, what she's doing. But I really think she's in sort of like a dreamlike state or just something's off. Because obviously her and Vision are like, when did we move here? When did we get married? And they're sort of questioning themselves because they don't rightly know what's up. So to me, that's just kind of like, I would call it red flags. They're just saying, okay, this is obviously fake. You know what it reminds me of? I'm sorry for being personalized here, but I have very strong dreams. I mean, I dream a lot. I have a lot of lucid dreams for a reason I do not know. But I can always, in a dream, be able to figure out this is not real because it will seem so nice and stuff, but then sometimes it seems too perfect. And you're like, this isn't real life. This is not, life isn't like this. It's not this flawless and good as you make it up. I know that sounds a little dark, but obviously life isn't that perfect. But it just kind of reminds me of that. So I'm already getting a personal connection with the show, so obviously I'm in love with it. But no, I'm really enjoying this. And I'm wondering, like I said, if it was true that each episode gets closer and closer to present day, that would be very interesting. There's 9 episodes. So I think it's 2022 or 2023 is when present day MCU is, because obviously 5 years during Endgame, the time jump. So minus 9 decades. Yeah, I don't think that's right, because then this movie would have to be set in 1930. Well, maybe. Huh. You know, I don't know. But see, I said 1940, 1950, so it's close. The timeline is close. But we'll just have to wait and see. Also, a fun fact I heard is the actor of Vision, I think his name is Paul B. something. Bettany? Something like that. I'm sorry if I can't remember that correctly. But he said they actually recorded like the audience going ha 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 ha, or the that's real. I mean, obviously at one point it has to be real people, but they recorded certain scenes like live. Like, again, it's like a live rom-com, okay? So I'm like, wow, that's interesting. And I remember reading the thing. This was like a week ago, where he was like, I learned that we had to do this live, and he said he was kind of freaking out. But then things went okay, obviously. Like, he seemed awesome here. No, I'm very interested in this, and I'm wondering what's going on. I didn't notice any of the television, because remember I said there was that theory, or apparently it's true that Doctor Strange was trying to communicate through the television, but I didn't notice that, so I'll try to keep my eye open more, but I enjoyed this. And I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Or at least the show. If you didn't enjoy this reaction, that's alright. Because I'm not for everyone, and I'm certainly a mouthful because I never shut the hell up. But, no, I heard this show did very well, so I'm sure a lot of people watching this reaction in particular also are fans of the show, or else why else would you be watching this reaction? But, yeah, so going forward, really the things I'm wondering about is if that time, like I said, every episode is going to get closer and closer, like a new decade in time. And I guess, is she going to figure out that she's dreaming? Because there, she kind of had certain looks where she was like, like freaking out. So I'm like, okay, so she kind of has to be like figuring out that something's not right. So I guess, of course, only these can be answered in the next episode. So like I said, hope you guys enjoyed. I really like this. I'm going to record the next one. I might do this tomorrow, and then I'll upload it. If I do every 2 days, I don't know. I mean, normal people had to wait a week. Getting hiccups galore. Normal people had to wait a week to watch the next one, and I'm complaining about waiting a day to watch the next one. I'll try to wait 2 days, record, you know what I mean? So this will come out, well, the next one, if you're interested, will come out 2 days after this is initially uploaded. And then, judging on the timeline of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think I planned this correctly, because I want to do 1 episode, 2-day break, 1 episode, 2-day break, 1 episode, all the way into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I want that to carry me into Loki. So we'll see. Hopefully that works. If not, that's okay. But anyway, also I'm going to be doing the finales of Practical Jokers. Hopefully I can get those up in the next week, because I still have 2 episodes that were recorded 2 months ago that I need to get out with. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I have been a mouthful. I'm almost on the hour mark on my camera. So, yeah, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed. But until then, until the next episode, until I upload something else, I'll catch you folks in the next video.